Titanian Souls. If you are a Titanian soul, this message speaks to a part of you that has always felt heavy and powerful at the same time. From early on, life has required strength from you, not symbolic strength. Real strength, the kind that holds pressure, responsibility, and consequence without breaking. You feel energy in your body as force, as drive, as the ability to move things in the physical world. While others hesitate, you act. While others imagine, you build. You sense that life responds to effort, structure, and will. So you bring those qualities naturally. Here is something you are about to hear that rarely gets said clearly. Your pain formed through carrying too much too early. You learned to rely on yourself. You learned to push through resistance. You learned that results come from endurance rather than comfort. This shaped you into someone solid, capable, and dependable. You often feel like the ground beneath others. People lean on your stability. They trust your strength. They expect you to hold when things become difficult. You rarely disappoint, even when it costs you internally. Inside, there is a specific lived experience. You feel responsible for outcomes. You feel tied to what you create. You take ownership seriously. Letting go feels risky. Slowing down feels unnatural. Rest often feels like something that must be earned through completion. Now listen carefully. This part touches something deep. Beneath your strength lives sensitivity, not fragility, but awareness. You feel pressure in your body. You sense weight in situations. You notice when something is unstable and move instinctively to reinforce it. This awareness makes you powerful and also tired. You may feel misunderstood. Others see your force and miss your inner world. They see capability and miss the effort it takes to stay solid. You rarely speak about fatigue. You continue. You adapt. You endure. And still, something inside you knows there is more than constant holding. More than pushing. More than carrying everything alone. What you are hearing now gives language to a lived reality. It honors the strength you embody without diminishing the cost of it. It recognizes the pain that shaped your power and the potential that lives beyond survival. This is the beginning of recognition for Titanian souls. And what follows will reveal how this force transforms into grounded leadership, shared creation, and a life that feels strong without feeling heavy. This system was created by the Starseed Soul Project to describe lived human experience with precision and respect. It was shaped through observing how people carry strength, make choices, form bonds, and repeat the same inner dynamics across time. It exists to give language to patterns that feel familiar, yet difficult to explain. What you are hearing now speaks to experience rather than theory. It reflects something you already know from inside. For Titanian souls, relationships are never light or casual. Connection carries weight from the very beginning. You enter bonds with seriousness, intensity, and a sense of responsibility. You bring strength, presence, and the ability to hold difficult moments. Others often feel protected around you. They sense reliability, power, and endurance. Here is something rarely spoken this clearly. Your core relationship pain forms around imbalance of strength. You naturally take on the role of the one who carries more. You become the stabilizer, the protector, the one who absorbs pressure. You hold emotional weight so the relationship can survive challenges. Over time, this strength becomes expected rather than shared. This creates a quiet strain. You give loyalty, effort, and resilience. You stay present during conflict. You endure through difficulty. Inside, you may feel that your own needs wait while the bond stays intact. You feel connected and still feel alone in carrying the weight. This pattern tends to repeat across different relationships. You attract partners who feel supported by your solidity. They rely on your strength during uncertainty. You provide structure when things become unstable. Gradually, responsibility gathers on your side. You adjust. You hold. You continue. Listen carefully here. This explains something many Titanian souls recognize deeply. You remain because you value commitment, You believe in building something that lasts. You trust endurance and effort. Walking away feels heavier than staying. Leaving feels like abandoning something you are meant to protect, so you stay, even when the load grows heavier. This cycle shapes how intimacy feels in your body. Love becomes linked with resilience. Closeness becomes linked with endurance. Strength becomes the language through which you connect. And still, within this weight, there is devotion. There is courage. There is the capacity to stand when others cannot. Your strength holds the potential for deep, lasting bonds. Recognizing this pattern opens the first door. It allows you to see how much you carry, and it prepares the way for a different experience of relationship. One where strength is shared. One where protection moves in both directions. A transition begins when you start sensing a different quality of connection. Relationships do not have to be built only through strength and endurance. You notice moments where cooperation feels more effective than control, where shared direction feels lighter than personal responsibility. This realization often comes through experience, not reflection. Now listen carefully. What you are about to hear is something many Titanian souls recognize immediately. Your patterns in relationships echo strongly in your relationship with money and the material world. You approach work, resources, and creation with the same intensity you bring into connection. You act, you build, you take responsibility for outcomes. You prefer tangible results over promises. You trust what can be created with effort and persistence. Material life often responds with weight. Money comes through work, pressure, and long horizons. Results arrive through persistence rather than ease. You may achieve stability and still feel tension inside. You may build something solid and still feel that enjoyment waits for later. Material success feels earned through effort. This creates a deep internal tension. You feel capable, powerful, and grounded. You also feel constant pressure to justify your value through productivity. Worth becomes linked to action. Rest feels secondary. Receiving feels unfamiliar compared to building. Here is something rarely said out loud. Your inner conflict does not live between success and failure. It lives between embodiment and control. You feel most secure when you are doing, managing, directing. Pauses can feel empty rather than nourishing. Stillness raises questions about usefulness and relevance. So you stay active. You stay engaged. You keep shaping the world around you. Your body carries this story. Tension in the shoulders, readiness in the posture, a sense of always holding something together. You inhabit matter fully, yet allow little softness inside it. As awareness deepens, a different understanding begins to form. Value does not come only from output. Strength includes the ability to receive. Embodiment includes presence, not only action. Money begins to shift from proof into support. Work begins to feel more collaborative. You allow yourself to experience what you have built. Material stability becomes a place to live, not a structure to guard. This is where Titanian energy starts to integrate. Power remains, grounding remains, responsibility remains, and now there is also presence. This transition opens the way for a life that feels solid and inhabited. At the shadow point of the Titanian path lives a heavy and rarely spoken truth. You carry power that feels ancient and dense. You learned early how to endure pressure. You learned how to stay standing when weight increases. Strength became familiar. Control became safety. Holding became identity. This shadow shows itself as rigidity rather than collapse. You stay firm even when softness asks for space. You rely on will when flexibility would bring relief. You keep moving forward through force when listening would offer direction. Inside, there is fatigue that rarely finds words, a sense that you always have to be strong. That letting go would cost too much. This is something few ever hear expressed clearly. The avoided truth lives in vulnerability. You carry immense capacity, yet sharing weight feels unfamiliar. You trust structure more than connection. You trust action more than emotion. You learned how to lead, protect, and provide. You learned how to stand alone even while surrounded by others. A turning point arrives through maturity rather than breakdown. You begin to sense that true authority includes openness, that power grows when it allows response. You recognize moments where flexibility creates more stability than control. You allow yourself to pause without losing direction. You allow others to participate without losing leadership. This shift reshapes how strength feels inside your body. Tension releases into grounded presence. Effort transforms into influence. You choose direction with clarity rather than force. Your logic organizes complexity without suppressing life. Your energy moves with intention rather than resistance. In higher expression, Titanian souls embody embodied authority. You remain strong and reliable. You also allow connection, warmth, and responsiveness to exist inside structure. Your leadership stabilizes without dominating. Your presence commands respect through coherence rather than pressure. Your work creates systems that last. Your relationships deepen through shared responsibility. Your material life reflects solidity with space for enjoyment. Your energy supports creation that endures across time. This is the Titanian potential realized. Strength that listens, power that adapts, authority that builds life instead of carrying it alone. Here, endurance evolves into wisdom. Control evolves into conscious leadership. And your life becomes a place where stability and vitality coexist. The portal 11.11 appears here as a moment of precise self-recognition. It offers a structured space where lived experience becomes clear and ordered. For Titanian souls, the portal helps you see how power, responsibility, and inner pressure have shaped your choices in work, relationships, and direction. It gives language to patterns you have carried for a long time, often without reflection. Recognition arrives calmly, with dignity and depth. For those who feel ready to continue, deeper exploration unfolds through focused activations and relationship PDFs. These materials support integration in everyday life. They help translate insight into how you direct strength, build stability, and allow connection without constant control. This process respects your pace and your need for structure. Growth unfolds through clarity rather than intensity. Now stay with this moment. What follows gathers the entire journey into one field. You carry immense inner force. Your energy moves with weight and purpose. When you decide, things shift. When you commit, structures form. Your presence brings gravity into any space. People feel direction around you, even before words appear. In your elevated expression, Titanian strength becomes conscious leadership. You still build, you still protect, you still carry responsibility. And now your power moves with awareness and precision. Effort becomes intentional. Control transforms into mastery. Pressure becomes focused drive. Your material life reflects solidity without rigidity. Work becomes a place of creation rather than burden. Money supports expansion rather than tension. Your logic brings clarity to complex situations and steadiness to decisions. Your relationships deepen through respect, trust, and shared direction. Connection feels strong and real, grounded in presence rather than dominance. Let this understanding settle fully. Allow it to guide how you choose your battles, your commitments, your pace. Your strength does not require constant proof. It lives in consistency, direction, and embodied presence. You are a Titanian soul. Your origin is shaped by power, structure, and endurance. Your destiny lives in directing that force with wisdom, clarity, and conscious authority.